Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is BP with Together We Grow. This here is our next installation in the videos. As last time we spoke about avoiding the sign police, I told you we're going to break that particular subject just because there's so much information in that one subject. We're going to break it down into three pieces. The first piece was the rule. This one's going to be what to do before you place a sign. So I'm just going to give you a few different tips in regarding to what to do before you actually place the sign, before your sign actually gets printed and before your sign actually gets placed into the ground. Different techniques to help you avoid having any confrontation with the city, more specifically have you avoid any type of fines and anything like that. Because once again, we're here to make money, we're here not to lose money. The first thing that I want to go over with you, which is probably the most important thing. Now this particular tip that I'm going to give you here, this can be used in wide range of different implications for your business. These can be used in just a wide different thing. Now the way that we use it here is as a particular number, not your personal cell phone number. Now when you're out there placing signs, you don't want to have your personal cell phone number on your signs. Obviously, you don't want to have that number out there. You don't want people calling you at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. A lot of times what happens is that people go out there and write those numbers that are on the Bandit signs, and then they'll put them into automated system where you'll get automatic business calls calling you saying, hey, you want to make $1,000 a day or whatever shit they're trying to promote at that day. So you don't want to put that. Second of all, and second reason why you don't want to put either your own personal number or your business number, that's the fastest way for the city to track you down. If anybody from the city wants to track you down, what they'll do is they'll get the number that's on the sign, they'll type it in on Google, and whatever comes up, that goes. A lot of times people make a big mistake where they'll put their actual business number on there. So for example, I had a gentleman that bought gold. He put his actual business number on there. So all the city guy had to do was punch in his number on Google. Not only did he tell him who he was, it gave him directions how to get there, and it even gave him the times that the people were gonna be there. So the city guy knew exactly where to go, where to tell them, hey, we know who you are, stop putting out these signs. So the first tip that I'm gonna give you guys is Google Voice. Google Voice is a number separate than your own number that you can use and have that number forwarded anywhere that you want. So for example, I have a Google Voice number that I have. That's the number that I put on my signs. When people call that number gets directed to whatever number I want. In this particular case, it'll be my cell phone, it'll be my sales guy, it'll be my manager, it'll be whoever it is that I want to answer those phone calls. Google Voice is free. That's probably the best part about Google Voice is that you're able to get a local number wherever your area might be. You can type in the different area codes that you have there. Hell, you can even get a vanity number if they have it available. For you guys that don't know what vanity numbers is, it'll be something along the lines of 555 buys or something along those lines. They'll give you those numbers for free if they're available. All you have to do is type it in and see if they're available or not. Google does a great service with these Google Voice. They actually have 10 different videos here on YouTube, probably about 20 or so, about a minute long, explaining different things that can be done with Google Voice. So in regards to how to forward your calls, how to put specific greetings on your phone calls, how to make a voicemail on your phone calls. The great thing that I like about Google Voice is that it's attached to an email address. It's not attached to you. So you can actually make up an email address and get a Google Voice number, and there'll be no way that anybody can track that number back to you. I mean, you can literally put johndoe@gmail.com and get yourself a Google Voice number. Now, please, nobody get it twisted. We're not here to scam people. This is not for people that are out there trying to take advantage of somebody else. This is for legitimate business owners that want to advertise with a simple, cost-effective technique, which is Bandit signs. Unfortunately, about Bandit signs, you always have to deal with the sign police. Google Voice allows you to avoid the sign police because once again, the quickest way for them to track you is to type in your number in Google, see where you're at, and see what comes from it. The other advantages of doing Google Voice is you can have that number forwarded to whoever you want. So for example, if you hire a new salesman, don't print Bandit signs with his number on there. Hell, he could quit tomorrow and now you have 100 Bandit signs with his name and his number that you can't use. Don't do that. Go ahead and get a Google Voice number so if he happens to quit the next day or the next week or so, those phone calls are still coming in, you can just forward them out to somewhere else. If you have the Google Voice going to your particular phone, you can have them go to your secretary if you don't take phone calls after 3 p.m. because of your family commitments or whatever it is that you're doing. That Google Voice will allow you to take care of all that stuff. The other suggestion that I would give you in regards to placing before the placement to avoid any type of confrontation with the city would be placing them in shopping centers. Now, shopping centers are private property. They don't belong to the city. So the only ones that can take down your signs from the shopping centers would be either the maintenance people or the security guards that are working there. A lot of times people don't realize this and they just place them in the street corners, which are good. But if you're in a city where the city ordinance is a little bit more stricter than maybe somewhere else, if you're in a place that's nicer than maybe another neighborhood, shopping centers are definitely a good place to go. I will tell you this, when I first started placing out Bandit signs, I used to put my own personal cell phone number. And this is how I know all the information that I'm giving you guys, because I actually did it myself. I actually started placing my own, putting my own cell phone number on Bandit signs. I put one on East Mesa, which is a nicer neighborhood here in the Phoenix area. I had a phone call from some guy 9 months later saying, hey, I just saw your sign off the side of a Walmart. The reason why I know it was at least 9 months later was because I had learned the Google voice trick by then, so I wasn't using my cell phone anymore. This guy called my cell phone saying he saw my sign on a shopping center. So shopping centers are a great way to go. Downfall with the shopping centers is that you don't get as high of a traffic as you do where it would be outside on the street. The good point of a shopping center, though, is that you don't get as much negative attention. So as I said, the only ones that can really do anything would be the maintenance, the shopping people. Plus, most of the people that own the actual shopping centers don't live within that city. They most have management companies or somebody that takes care of that. So they're not going to call and put complaints on you regarding that. The last thing that I want to go over, and this is probably just a general rule of thumb that I go over all my people with, is the nicer the area is, the faster your signs are going to come down, and the higher the percentage so somebody's going to call and complain. Let me say that one more time. The nicer the area is, the faster your signs are going to come down, and the higher the percentage that somebody's going to call and complain. That is pretty much across the board. You can take that how you want to take that, and you can actually imply that or implement that in any city that you're at. You can go ahead and use that example. The nicer areas usually have a lot more money being spent towards keeping them nicer. A lot more taxes being paid towards keeping them nicer. So a lot more of the city resources go to keep them nicer, especially if it's a small town. For example, here in Arizona, we have a town named Gilbert and a town named Chandler. Those are both very small towns. They like to keep their stuff clean. Bandit signs don't usually last very long in those particular towns. Plus, there's a higher percentage of people actually calling you and complaining about those signs. So take that into consideration when you're out there placing signs. Obviously, a lot of these people that are doing real estate and buying short sales and trying to buy we pay cash for houses, obviously you guys are going to want to target nicer neighborhoods. I completely understand that. Just also, once again, understand that the nicer the area is, the faster your signs are going to come down. One of the tricks that we like to do, though, when it comes to those particular areas, especially if you're some type of business promoting towards home ownership or realtor or a pool cleaning or something having to do with the particular neighborhood, is put them within what's called the neighborhood arteries. And most neighborhoods have major intersections. We all know that. We have major intersections that go north and south. We have major intersections that go east and west. What people don't realize, so if there's a bunch of streets between those intersections where people that live in those neighborhoods come in and out every day, and people don't just appear in the major intersection, they have to come in and out one way. Those streets, we like to call them neighborhood arteries. Those are great places for you to place your signs. Once again, the only people that can take them down would be the maintenance. If it's a nicer area, you might have the homeowners association, whatever maintenance company, whatever landscaping company they might hire. But even then, signs stay out for a lot longer just because they're not within city limits and they're not out there being taken down by the city. You're actually private companies on there. If you have a nicer neighborhood with a nicer HOA, your signs won't last that long. If you have a neighborhood where they don't have an HOA, where it's just everybody fends for themselves, your signs are probably going to last a little bit longer. Finally, avoid any type of confrontation. This is a complaint-driven field, which means that the cops won't do anything unless they get complaints. The city won't actually go ahead and hound you and go after you unless they're getting tons of complaints about one particular sign. If you're out there placing signs and the owner happens to be there and says, hey, don't place your signs here, don't place your signs there. You don't want to get into a confrontation with them. You don't want to be like, fuck you, I can do whatever I want. You can't tell me, because those are the people that are going to complain, and that's when the city's going to come after you. So just be as nice as you can when you're out there placing signs. Be as nice as you can when you're out there answering phone calls, when people are calling you and saying, hey, blah, 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 we don't like your signs, blah, blah, blah. don't confront them in any way. I'll go over that in more specifics on the third video, on the last video on avoiding the sign police. But once again, just please, please, please just avoid any confrontation. Save yourself a lot of trouble, save them a lot of trouble, and more importantly, avoid anybody getting fines. So I'm just, once again, just go over the same things that we did. Google Voice, first and foremost, that's a must if you're advertising. If you're doing any type of business, I would suggest you get a Google Voice number anyway. But if you're advertising with Bandit signs, Google Voice is a plus. Second of all, make sure that you place them in shopping centers. Shopping centers will distract a lot of the city, will actually avoid a lot of confrontations with the city, and will actually help your sign stay up a little bit longer. Avoid any type of confrontations, place them in shopping centers, and once again, I'll just go over the golden rule. The nicer the area is, the faster they'll come down. My name is BP. Till next time.